Starting the future. Saturn's POV. After losing track of how many hours, we made Vincenzo scream and whimper in pain. It's now past midnight and Christian and I are racing deep in the forest on one ATV, while Leah and Liam are on another towing the pieces of Vincenzo behind them. It's obvious Christian knows the area well as he dodges boulders and downed trees until we finally stop at a clearing. After he helps me off the ATV, we walk to a large fire pit in the middle of the clearing, and Leah and I sit on the logs surrounding the pit as Liam and Christian start a roaring fire and go unhook the trailer, bringing it to us. There was no question about it. Vincenzo was dead. But Leah and I both agreed it was our responsibility to deal with his remains. The Royal Guards had volunteered to do it, but this was our way of not only finishing what we'd started, but also to show that none of us had any problem getting our hands dirty. To make a point that anything we requested the kingdom to do, we'd do ourselves. Like I said, Leah was an amazing queen, just as Liam was incredible king. Let's get this over with, it's been a long day. Leah says, standing up as Liam douses the body in lighter fluid of some kind. It doesn't take us long to do what we came to do, and we sit for a bit. Gorgeous, let's finish our mating, let's go allow our wolves to play. Christian whispers into my ear, and Tempest goes crazy. Yes, yes, girls say yes. Cadden is so fucking sexy. She howls in my head and I grin. If I say no, Tempest will never speak to me again. So yes. Christian grins, and we say goodnight to Leah and Liam before taking off a bit deeper on the ATV into the woods. Once we're far enough out to not draw attention to ourselves, we stop and Christian goes into one group of trees, while I go into another to quickly strip and shift into my lichen. Tempest has fur the same golden blonde color as my hair, and her deep green eyes shine. All right, it's all you, I say, and step back to allow her to take over. Tempest steps out of the trees and gasps to see a jet black lichen standing in the moonlight. Cadden slowly turns to face us and growls low. Since we can't speak as a lichen, we mind link. Gorgeous, you better run before I take you now, Cadden says, and Tempest laughs before disappearing into the woods, and not taking it easy, she flies over rocks, and after 15 minutes, she no longer hears Cadden following and decides to hide. Tempest jumps into a tree and climbs out of sight. Sitting on a thick branch, we wait. Tempest, we can be happy and loved now, right? I mean, this isn't some dream, right? I ask her in our head softly. Yes, girl. This is all real, I promise. We're safe, Saturn and this amazing family love us. She replies, and I know she isn't just saying it to make me feel better. You're damn right, I am not the kind to sugarcoat anything, she says, and I smile. Suddenly a deep howl is let off and Tempest rises to make a break for it, and I step back to allow her to have her mating in privacy, as she did for me. Tempest's POV. The deep husky howl makes me so turned on, and I spy through the branches, knowing Cadden is close. I can smell your scent, gorgeous, you smell incredible, he says over our link. And I know he's still trying to pinpoint my location. Why are you taking so long? I'm so ready for you. I tease him and jump out of my hiding spot, landing on the ground, silently, or so I think, but am flat on my back in a second with Cadden on top of me. Playtime is over, my gorgeous mate, he growls as he looks at me with darkened eyes. Are you ready for me, my love? Yes, so ready. Make me yours, Cadden. I half moan, half beg, and he does so in the most loving and incredible way. When we shift back and return home, after the sun rises, I step back happily and can't wait to be let loose again. Saturn's POV. I wake up just about an hour after Christian, and I had fallen asleep, and I smile as Christian sleeps soundly, holding me tightly. Knowing I can't go back to sleep and not wanting to wake him, I quietly slip out of bed before grabbing my black running gear that has purple swirls on it and get dressed in the bathroom before writing a short note and laying it on the nightstand by Christian's phone. I kiss him and head out the front door, locking it behind me. I start my warm-up jog, heading to the side of the estate and quietly run past his brother's home and decide to run the perimeter. As I speed up and continue following the perimeter fencing, I take a deep breath. This is freedom. I haven't been outside this much and not on my own in years. I feel so light and happy. Everything is so colorful and bright. Several wild animals dart out of bushes and happily play. I'll have to let Tempest out soon to chase them. Hey, there's Saturn. I'm so happy another person likes to run. Leah says as she comes up beside me and smiles. I smile at her outfit that is black like mine and has sunflowers on it. Her hair pulled up in a messy bun, and I realize this is why Christian laughed about my worrying in the limo. There's nothing regal about Leah right now, she's just running. Morning, Leah. How'd the rest of your night go? I ask, and she gets a mischievous look. Nothing as exciting as yours. But I swear my husband is an animal. Not that I'm complaining at all. She teases, and I know my cheeks get hot. Hey, don't get embarrassed, it's what mates do, and these leakin' princes tend to get loud. Leah says, and we both laugh. My mate is determined to put another pup in me and have a pack before we're done. I never imagined I'd have a pup. My mother didn't want me to get my hopes up. I say, and that's when I realize I trust her. I trust another female. In the past, I never would have trusted any of the women at the castle, knowing it would be used against me at the first opportunity. Leah, on the other hand, had allowed me to get some payback and witness Vincenzo's death, so I could close that part of my path. Now with your brother I have hope and happiness. That's amazing, you've completed, Christian. She says, and then smirks at me. Someday soon you and I will have a long chat. Sounds like a plan. I reply as we return to our homes to get ready for the long day in front of us. A few weeks later, we have just landed at the Royal Airport in Africa, and today's the day. All of our planning and hard work is either worth it or all for nothing. I'm now Princess Saturn, and Christian and I were married in a quiet ceremony with just his family. Christian holds my hand and it helps calm me. Saturn, we don't have to do this right now. If you're not ready, we can wait. Leah says, placing her hand on mine. Leah and I've become so close. No, I want to do this. Those other women deserve their freedom also. I say, he deserves to pay for what he's done, and will continue to do if we don't stop him. Leah smiles and we begin to exit the plane. 15 minutes later, the blue Yukon were riding in stops in front of the castle entrance, after being approved at the 2 gates. That's strange, there was only 1 gate before. I wonder what has occurred to make the invincible king beef up security. This is awful. All this land that could be enjoyed by the people taken up by this hideous building and ostentatious show of ego. No wonder the people of this kingdom all seem so unhappy. Leah says, and her voice is half angry, half appalled. I'm sorry, Saturn. I don't mean to be judgmental of your home. But are all this kingdom's people suffering? No need to apologize. This is miserable. Thing is, if you're born and raised here, and never leave the kingdom you believe, this is how it is everywhere. They make it very hard to experience anything else. I reply sadly, and Christian pulls me closer. Outside of the royal estate, most packs chose to settle far away and are happy, until he decides the pack is breaking a law and the royal army attacks. They usually kill few but enough to declare victory, and then take any of the females they decide the king will like and claim them before leaving. I step out of the vehicle taking Christian's hand and look over to see the king staring at me, his jaw dropped. I walk toward he and the queen in my knee-length black skirt suit with a purple silk shirt under the jacket. My hair is up in a twist. This is a royal visit, so we're all wearing our crowns and royal pins. Welcome to our royal estate, your majesties. I'm Queen Bianca, and this is my husband, King Rigazzi. The queen says, breaking her husband from his shock. Thank you. I'm Queen Leah, and my husband, King Liam. My brother, Prince Christian, and I believe you know his mate, Princess Saturn. When Leah says the last part, the queen glares at her husband before pasting on a smile. Please, let's move inside and have tea, as you've been traveling. She offers, and Leah nods before following the king and queen inside. Now the show begins, I think, and not realizing Christian has our link on, I'm surprised when he chuckles. Please have a seat where you'd like, and we shall check on tea. The moment the king and queen are out of the sitting room, I can't stop myself. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. We all laugh, and it's not long before they return and the staff bring out tea and cookies. We are served our cups, but only the king and queen drink. Leah winks at me and I clear my throat. Excuse me for a moment, please. I stand up and exit the sitting room, heading for the guest ladies' room. I enter the ladies' room and begin to wash my hands, knowing it will only be moments. When the door opens, I mentally prepare, and then he's pinning me against the wall, and I almost vomit at his breath as he growls. Oh, how I've missed you and your body, he says before running his vile hands down my sides, and then roughly grabbing my hips. Do you know how many women I've gone through just imagining they were you since you vanished? Let go of me, I say, and he chuckles. Not happening, my pet. Now that you're back, I will never let you go. He growls and grinds against me. You're to go straight to your room and be naked and cuffed, like you are supposed to be, so we can start. You are so cruel, allowing him to mark you. He will feel excruciating pain as I take you. You pathetic piece of shit. His wife roars, and King Rigazzi quickly jumps away from me and sees Leah, Liam, and Christian with her. It's not what it looks like, she's mine, he says, and Christian pulls me against him. How dare you attempt to touch my mate? A princess, you will be held responsible. Guards secure him. Christian roars, and within moments he's in cuffs. Now King Rigazzi have the rest of the women released, I say, and he starts to argue. But before he can say 2 words, Leah is there in all her anger. King Rigazzi, you're under arrest for forcing both Leakin and human females to have sexual relations with you. You will stand trial in front of the council for murder and rape, Leah says before looking at Queen Bianca. As will your wife for knowing and not doing anything. The council has been summoned. Now release your prisoners. Release them, King Rigazzi says, immediately as he looks at his shoes. After he's removed from the ladies' room, the rest of us return to the sitting room, where Queen Bianca summons the beta. Since she also will be facing the council, the beta will be in charge of the kingdom temporarily, until the council decides what to do. Afterwards we head home, and I'm so happy to return. To be or not to be? Leah's POV. Wait, can you repeat that? I asked in shock as I look at my parents. They didn't really say what I thought they did, right? I look at Liam, who looks just as shocked as I feel. My mother smiles lovingly. Your mother is right. You've done an amazing job, and it's unanimous that the kingdom is happy, so you need to decide. Will you accept the thrones permanently? Lord Ryan asks again. I'm overwhelmed and stand up. I need some air, I need to think. I exclaim and am so thankful. Liam stands and takes my hand. My wife and I will let you know. Please excuse us, Liam says before heading for the door. I love him so much. Let them go, Lord Ryan. It's a huge decision and they deserve some time to think it over. I hear my mother say as we leave the room, and I smile. Liam and I leave the hall and head out to the pier, where we strip down to my bra and panties, and Liam in his boxer briefs, before diving into the ocean and swimming out of the cove. We just swam until walking onto the beach on my island from the first day. We sit on the beach. We sit in silence for a while, lost in our own thoughts. They want to coronate us permanently, and am I ready to be queen for good? Do I want this? Everything has changed in my world so quickly. I'm just catching up. I was an abused she-wolf not so long ago, and now I'm deciding whether or not to be queen of a whole kingdom. I guess I haven't stopped to realize how different everything was. But I'd been the queen for a few months, and I had to admit I enjoyed it. I knew I could continue. All right, my love, let's talk about where your head is, Liam says and pulls me into his side with his arm around my waist. I kiss him. I'm so thankful that you found me, Liam. I haven't had someone who knows me so well, who can read me so well in ever. I tell him, and the love in his eyes takes my breath away. He kisses me. He holds me close as I tell him everything going on in my head. Where are you at? I ask him after I finish, and he takes a deep breath. To be honest, my love, I enjoy being king as much as you enjoy being queen. If we accept, it will change a bit as we will be officially coronated and the whole world will know. He tells me, I think you and I make a great team, and I'm in as long as you want this. As I've said before, you and our family are my number one priority. You and our girls are my number one priority also. I don't want Bella and Bria raised by nannies or sent to boarding school. We can have them with nannies during the day while we attend to our duties. But we'll need a playroom, studies room, close to our offices and the throne room, I say, and Liam agrees. Of course. They'll travel with us and we'll spend time with them. Our parents did it, he replies. We both fall into silence for a few minutes. So we're doing this. We're going to be king and queen and parents? I ask, smiling at him. Yes, we are, he replies before pulling me across his lap and kissing me lovingly. After we separate, we decide to return home and check on the twins. Once we arrive on the pier, we get dressed and head towards the mansion, where we're still staying. My parents chose to move into the house we were supposed to be in, but given the circumstances of our arrival, we chose to be at the mansion. I feel happy and secure in our decision. Hey, look, there's Saturn and Christian, I tell Liam before calling out to them. As they walk over to us, I smile, thinking about how close Saturn and I have become. We've been home for 3 weeks from our trip to the African kingdom, and she's taken the lead role in helping the women who were released from the dungeon. She's actually petitioning for funding from all kingdoms to assist any Leakin, she-wolf who escapes sexual slavery, servitude to become independent. She leaves to petition Liam's family after the council decides on the cases against King Rigotzi and his wife. The council has decided to hold the hearings here, in the European Kingdom's throne room, and the council arrived today. Liam and I offered the council members suites in the mansion, and everyone is settling in. Dinner is the first time everyone will see each other since the hearings over Alpha Joe and them. Hello you two. We haven't seen much of you since we returned. I say, hugging them both. Sorry, but it's been an experience caring for a newborn part wolf and half Leakin. Saturn replies with a smile that shows it may be an experience but one she wouldn't miss for anything. Yes, when we arrested King Rigotzi we learned that not only was he the father of Nikki's baby, but that Nikki had not survived the child's birth. There was no family to take the newborn, and the one who was alive, Nikki's father, wanted nothing to do with the child. He refused to even acknowledge his grandchild. To everyone's surprise, Christian and Saturn offered to adopt the baby, and the council immediately granted them custody. I wasn't sure it was a good idea at first. It seemed like a lot of pressure on a new marriage, but after the flight home and first day of seeing how they adored him, I changed my opinion. Charles, or Charlie, is an adorable and happy baby, and the three of them were meant to be a family. Not to mention my gorgeous wife fighting so hard to help the freed females. Christian says, grinning. He's so proud and in awe of his mate. Saturn blushes and looks at the ground. He's right, you're truly making a monumental difference in the women's lives, Saturn. You should be proud. I quickly say, and she smiles. You know we still have a bit of time before we have to get ready. May I steal your wife, brother, for just a few? Of course. I'll go see if Charlie is awake and get him fed and ready for his first official dinner. Christian says, and he and Liam head off, while Saturn and I start walking. Once we're a ways away from the mansion, I decide to share my news. Is something wrong? Have I pushed too much on my program? Saturn asks before I can say anything, and I can see she's nervous, that I'm upset with her. No, you're doing an amazing job. With all of it, I'm in awe at the things you're doing and feel bad. I didn't even consider the things those ladies would need once released. I explain and see her relax. This morning the lords and ladies and my parents informed Liam and I that they'd like us to be coronated permanently, and we're going to accept. Oh, Leah, that's wonderful. She says. You think so? Really? I ask nervously, and Saturn stops walking to look at me. Leah, you're an amazing queen. You always put our people first. You love our kingdom and our people and never make a decision without their opinions and happiness in mind. Saturn tells me, and I know she wouldn't sugarcoat anything. Not to mention, from what Christian and your parents have said, they all agree you've done so well as Queen Interim. This is an amazing thing for our home. Thank you, Saturn. I needed to hear it from someone who's not my mate. I say, and we hug. Saturn and I don't hug much. She feels the same as I do. We head back to our homes to get ready for dinner with the council. I know this is the right decision. An hour or so later, Liam and I enter the dining room, each carrying a baby, and the first to notice us is Alpha Jacob, who grins and walks over. Well, look at how big they've gotten, he says before giving me a one-armed hug and shaking Liam's hand. I look at Bria, who's in my arms, and he's right, they truly are getting big and coming into their own personalities. Your Majesties, you look happy. Jacob says, and it makes me smile. We really are. I'm so happy you're here. How's the pack? I reply, and at the mention of the silver lunar pack, I see Alpha Jacob get a mischievous look on his face. Oh, I know that look. What have you been up to? Well, I did bring a few guests with me, which I hope is all right. Jacob teases with that same look. You never have to ask permission to visit, and bring whoever you'd like to bring, Liam says as Bella reaches out to Jacob. Liam hands her over and Jacob holds her gently. He looks down at her with a smile, and then looks at me. Oh, you're going to be so much like your mama, he says, and looks at Bria. Yes, you both are going to keep your parents on their toes, but while Bria is more outgoing, Bella here will be a bit more undercover about her actions. We all chuckle. Oh, here are my guests now. Come here, my love, and meet my dear friends, Jacob says, grinning, and a gorgeous black-haired and blue-eyed she-wolf walks up and smiles as Jacob wraps his free arm around her. Her eyes shine with love, and it's clear they're mates. Queen Leah, King Liam, may I introduce my mate, my soon-to-be wife, and Luna Jessica. Jacob introduces us, and we shake hands. She is a bit shy, but overall his perfect compliment. I'm so happy for you both. Please, just call us Leah and Liam. No titles needed, I reply, and see Jessica relax. Hello, sweetheart, may your dad and I take our granddaughters for a while? My mom asks as she walks over from the table, and Bria gets excited, reaching for her noni. Of course you may, I answer, handing Bria to her as my dad swoops Bella from Jacob. Jessica, please meet my parents, Queen Amelia and King Ernesto. This is Alpha, Jacob's mate, I introduce, and my mom gives her a warm hug, and she shakes my father's hand. Leah, it appears you have company, sweetheart, my mom says, looking over my shoulder, and I turn to see Rachel. You're here, I say, getting emotional and rushing to hug my sister. Goddess, I've missed you, I say in her ear. It's been so long, and that's when I step back and grin at her baby bump. Oh, sister, you're expecting? That's wonderful. Yes, not much longer before they arrive. Rachel smiles as Gino steps up beside her, taking her hand. Moments later, Liam walks up and hugs my sister and shakes Gino's hand. We have so much to catch up on. We'll do so after dinner. If you like, the twins would love to meet their aunt, I say, and we agree to do so. Before we all sit down, I introduce Rachel to my parents and greet the rest of the council. We all sit at the large table that's already filled with mouth-watering food. The staff have outdone themselves. There's steaks, chicken, and fish, spaghetti, fettuccine, and my favorite, baked macaroni and cheese, salad, and I could go on and on. Everyone starts to dig in and visit with one another. It's a wonderful dinner, and as we all begin to leave, my parents pull Liam and I to the side. Sweetheart, we're sorry we pushed you and surprised you with our meeting today. It was never our intent to bombard or pressure either of you, my mom explains, and I feel bad for the way I reacted. I look at Liam, who nods before taking my mom's hands in mine. Mom and Dad, please don't worry about it. My reaction was not the best, as I was surprised. I didn't realize you were ready to step down yet, I say. To be honest, your mother and I have wanted to spend time just us. I mean, we were coronated the day we were married, so we really never had a honeymoon, my dad explains. Don't get us wrong, we'll still be here to help you if needed, Mom says worriedly. We accept, I say quickly, not wanting my parents to worry. Liam and I will take the thrones. My parents look at us with proud and happy smiles. Since Marina and Noah have taken the twins upstairs, we head up to the nursery and bring Rachel and Gino. Rachel hugs Marina, and while they catch up, I slip into our room to change into leggings and a tank top. I wash my face and throw my hair into a ponytail. Liam has changed into his black sweats and white t-shirt. We walk back into the nursery, and Rachel chuckles. Some things never change. My sister couldn't wait to get out of her dress and into her comfy clothes. She says, and Marina, Rachel, and I laugh because it's so true. I sit in my rocker, and Liam hands me Bria. I quickly have her nursing under the privacy cover, while everyone sits on the floor, besides Liam, who takes his chair. I can't believe you're the Queen's sister and have found your parents, Mom, and Dad must be so happy. Rachel says, and we smile at one another. Our parents never hid the fact that I was adopted, and Mom even helped me to try and find out who they were. We approached the adoption service, but they only knew they died. As we chat and catch up on all the things that have happened, there's a knock on the door, and Christian, Saturn, and Charlie join us. Before too long, both the twins are asleep as Charlie. So we place Bria and Bella in Bella's crib, and Saturn places Charlie in Bria's crib before we move into the sitting room of Liam and I's suite. The sitting area has 2 large sectionals, and we curl up with our mates and spend the next few hours laughing and joking. So how long will you be Queen Interim? Rachel asks, and Liam and I smile. Well, until our coronation, which will be after the council hearings. I answer, and the room is silent. So you accepted the throne permanently? Christian asks, smiling. You knew? I ask, surprised. Yes, Mom and Dad asked Devin, Zach, and I how we felt, and we all agreed it was a perfect idea. He replies, which makes me feel even more sure it's the right decision. My sister is an amazing queen. Congratulations to you both. Rachel says, and everyone else congratulates us before heading to bed. Liam makes love to me before we fall asleep. The sentencing and whole truth. Leah's POV. Good morning, Your Majesties. The guard greets Liam and I as we approach the door into the throne room. He opens the door and announces us. Introducing Queen Leah and King Liam. I still hate that part, but we enter and the council bows to us, as do our lords and ladies. Introducing Queen Mother Amelia and King Father Ernesto. The guard announces, and Liam and I stop to greet my parents. Oh, sweetheart, you look so gorgeous. My mom says before hugging me. I'm dressed in an ivory skirt suit with a royal blue silk tank and my ivory pumps. My hair is up in a ponytail with my curls cascading down my back, and I smile at my regal-looking parents before we all sit down on the thrones. At the moment there are 4 thrones until our coronation, when my parents will be removed. As we wait for the rest of my family and others to arrive and be seated, I see Marina rush in looking on edge and spot me. She rushes to my side and drops down to whisper to me, Are the twins all right? I immediately ask, Oh yes, they're fine, sleeping upstairs with Noah and Rachel. Do you recall asking me to investigate where your nanny came from? The one who kidnapped you? She asks, and I nod. I've had a feeling there's more to my kidnapping since I learned of my supposed betrothal to Vincenzo. You were right, Leah, she was sent here from Africa. Not only that, but she was one of King Rigazzi's females. The guard that helped her was a guard for the king as well. She says, handing me 2 photos, one of King Rigazzi and my nanny, and one of all 3 of them. I need my parents and Liam to see these. I say, looking to make sure they haven't brought in the prisoner, before turning to my family and handing them the photos as Marina leaves the throne room. My mother's jaw drops as tears slip down her cheeks, and my father and Liam growl angrily. This is unbelievable. How dare he concoct such a terrible thing as kidnapping our infant daughter? My father roars and stands up, taking the photos to the councilman to show them. Right then, all three of my brothers walk in with their wives and quickly rush to my side, after witnessing Dad looking so furious. My mom was still sitting there with her jaw dropped in shock. Hey sis, what's happened? Why is Dad so angry? Zachary asks while kneeling beside my throne, while Christian and Devin rush to Mom to check on her. I look at my brother and my anger must show in my eyes because he growls. Riuria. I can't get the words out and I'm shaking. Liam quickly pulls me into his arms, and I feel myself calm down slightly. The woman who kidnapped Leah as an infant and the man that helped her both were part of the African kingdom. She was one of King Rigazi's females, and he was a royal guard. Liam explains, and I watch my brothers get angry before rushing to my dad and the council. They look at the photos and they are even more angry. I know they have to calm down before they bring in the prisoners, and I quickly call my sister-in-laws over. Listen, you all need to get your mates calmed down before Rigazzi is brought in. They can't attack him before council. I explain quickly, and the ladies quickly do as I said, including my mom, who seems to have snapped out of her shock. As soon as my family is all gathered, my father explains that the council will bring up the evidence, and everyone should remain calm and not act as if we have any knowledge of the information. Moments later, the prisoners are brought in and cuffed to the chairs. Besides the king and queen, the king's personal guards and his assistant are on trial. His head of the warriors is testifying against him for a lesser charge. Let's get started. Councilman Augustine says, King Rigazzi, you are being charged with 2 charges of murdering Leakin and human females, and 12 charges of kidnapping and holding Leakin females hostage to force them into sexual servitude. How do you plead? I plead guilty, Councilman. He replies, and everyone in the room is surprised. He's pleading guilty cause he is worried other charges may come up if he goes to trial. Liam says through our link, and he's absolutely correct. As the slimy little man glances over at my family. You're definitely right on that one, my love. I reply and glance at Saturn. Her mother is one of the murder charges against him. She looks at me and nods, so I know she's okay before we focus back on the proceedings. Before we decide on your sentence, we'd like to ask you a few questions. Alpha Jacob says, and I see he's holding the photos in his hands. All right, Councilman Jacob. Rigazzi replies with no hesitation, and the smirk on his face shows he believes the more he cooperates, the easier his sentence will be. Are you familiar with the name Greta Dennison? Jacob asks him, and he is shocked for a moment, but quickly schools his expression. I didn't force her to do anything. She came to me. I didn't kill her. He replies, No, you didn't. She was pregnant and left your kingdom with one of your personal security to come to the European kingdom and apply to be nanny to the future crowned princess. Jacob informs the room, and you can see the sweat beading on the vile little man's forehead. I had no idea she was expecting as far as any citizen of my kingdom leaving. They can do as they wish. I wouldn't hold them there, he says, and Jacob stands approaching Rigazzi. That's clearly not true, as in this photo you and her were very loving with each other, and she was quite pregnant, and showing at the time this photo is of all three of you. Jacob points out, and Ragazzi looks down. These must have been right before the pair left and became nanny and a guard here. So why would a pregnant, obviously happy woman leave her home when she could go into labor any day? The entire room went silent after Alpha Jacob asked the question, and Ragazzi just looked at the ground. As it becomes clear he's not going to answer, I'm livid, but keep my mouth shut. For crying out loud, how many of them have you impregnated? So what happened, Ragazzi? Just admit what you've done, don't be a coward. His mate shouts, and Goddess, if she could have gotten out of the chair, she very well would have attacked him. She was furious. I guess she didn't know that her husband had gotten his toys pregnant, at least 2 that we knew about. Shut up, bitch. If you'd just let me have sex with my mate, there'd have been less. Ragazzi screams, and he's got an insane look in his eyes. Even Vincenzo had to be done artificially. Of course you needed an heir, and after you marked me, and we made it, I was never letting your sick, depraved, vile self touch me again. If my father were alive, I'd kill him for not letting me reject you. Bianca yells back, and the rest of the room is silent but staring at him. He starts laughing hilariously and maniacally. He's lost it. Oh my love, this isn't going to be good. I tell Liam over the mind link, and he looks at me and nods. I think we better be ready to shift just in case. I tell him, we're ready, gorgeous. He answers, and I know Isis is ready. I turn back to see Ragazzi glaring at his wife. Fine, might as well get it all out in the open. It's not like I'm walking out of here alive anyway. Then he starts that maniacal laugh once more and turns to my family. If you'd just stayed missing, none of this would have happened. I would be playing with one of my pets, and my son would have never started this whole collapse. But no, you just had to find your anima gemella and find out the truth. He growls at me, then starts laughing. Stupid idiots. All they were supposed to do is take you to America and hide until I had a betrothal agreement, and then return home, so I could return you and finally take back the throne. But no, they had to get killed and lose you. You're a vile piece of shit. My mom says in a furious voice. Don't engage him, sweetheart. Dad says to her and takes her hand. I see my mom's eyes return to normal from the dark black shade they were, and she turns away from Ragazzi's direction. I look at Jacob, pleading for him to continue, and he nods, before turning back to Ragazzi and his wife. If there's nothing else, Council, are we ready to pass down sentences? Councilman Augustine inquired 2 hours later, after we've heard from the warrior and gone through the evidence, seeing as Bianca pled innocent. I'm physically sick to my stomach after hearing the amount of she-wolves and humans the vile piece of shit killed during his sick, depraved acts. I can tell it's taken a toll on Saturn as well. Yes, Councilman, we're ready. Sedina replies. Very well. May I have the council's decision? Alpha Jacob requests, and one of the guard hands him a folded sheet of paper. He opens it and reads it before turning to the defendants. Ragazzi and Bianca, as of today, you are stripped of your titles, and the African kingdom is under the council's control. Neither of you are allowed to return to the kingdom, and as of now are to be considered rogues. You can't do that, my family, Bianca cries out, but is quickly silent after Councilman Augustine pounds the table and stands up. Enough. We are able to do this based on your actions and won't be questioned. He roars and after a moment sits back down, so Alpha Jacob can continue. As I was reading, Alpha Jacob continues and the council sentences the guard and assistant to 15 years in the dungeon, and they also are now rogues. Bianca is sentenced to a total of 40 years, for knowing for over 20 years what her husband was doing and turning a blind eye. The whole room is silent as Rigazzi is made to stand. Nigel Rigazzi, you are hereby sentenced to death, to be carried out first thing in the morning for your heinous actions. Alpha Jacob announces, and I'm honestly surprised that there's no outburst. He just continues looking at the floor. This council hearing is adjourned. Jacob announces and the prisoners are removed from the throne room. My sweetheart, are you all right? Perhaps we should retire to our home and rest. It's been an emotional day. My father says to my mom as he wraps his arms around her lovingly. Yes, that sounds like a great idea. Lee, are you all right? My mom asks and I nod. She checks on my brothers and their mates before heading out of the throne room. Your Highnesses, if we may have a few minutes of your time. Sardina says smirking, and we quickly say goodbye to our family before the throne room is cleared and it's just Liam, myself and the council. I know today has been a long one, but we need to discuss tomorrow's execution and your upcoming coronation. Sadina explains and we nod. The council has decided to allow the royal family to decide on the method of execution. I look to Liam and know we're on the same page. We appreciate the council's actions and we believe it should be done by Silver and Wolfsbane. I reply and Sadina nods. It is agreed. Execution by lethal injection. Alpha Jacob announces. Now in regards to your coronation. Since it is required for the council to be in attendance at any permanent coronation, we would like to set yours for 2 weeks from Saturday. This will give the council enough time to deal with the African kingdoms, needing new king and queen, and evaluating the kingdom as a whole. That is acceptable. Liam agrees and we go over a few other matters before we all head to our separate areas. Liam and I head to see our girls and end up going on a boat ride and swimming. After dinner we retire to our suite, and Liam makes love to me until the twins wake up needing to be nursed. I'm so happy and thank the moon goddess for everything she's blessed me with. It's finally over. Leah's POV. The next morning Liam and I wake up to Bella's fussing over the monitor and get out of bed, pulling our robes on before walking into the nursery. I lift her from her crib and sit in the chair. She immediately latches on and begins nursing hungrily. I laugh. Well, princess, you're hungry, huh? I say, looking into her eyes as she nurses. She has begun to hold my thumb in her tiny hand as she nurses and will cry if she doesn't. I am not complaining, it's a special thing between my daughter and I. Bria, on the other hand, just looks up at me until she is done. I know baby mama will always protect both you and your sister. So will daddy. Liam says as he sits in his rocker and makes Bria smile and giggle. It's so cute. It's pretty obvious my love Bria is a daddy's girl, while Bella is a mama's girl. I say as I finish burping Bella, and then take Bria from Liam. Bria just smiled before latching on to nurse. I look over to see Liam changing Bella, and he is grinning happily. Okay baby, I have to ask, you look so happy, what's that about? He looks at me and once again, I'm blown away by the love in his eyes. Why wouldn't I be? I searched for you for so many years, my love, and now I have my soulmate and our 2 gorgeous daughters. Liam says, placing Bella in her swing before walking over to kiss me lovingly. He still takes my breath away. As he takes Bria to change her clothes, he looks into my eyes. Make no mistake about it, Leah. I would have searched for you until I left this world. But I'm so happy I didn't have to wait that long. I love you, gorgeous. Now let's get ready to finish this with Ragazzi. I fall more in love with you, Liam, every day now. Come on, let's shower. And I need you inside me. I tell him, and we quickly have a sex-filled shower and get ready to attend the execution. A few hours later, Liam and I walk out of our room and towards Noah and Marina, who are standing in the nursery and holding the twins. Good morning, Noah. Good morning, Marina. How's these princesses behaving? I say teasingly before hugging them both. Liam hugs Marina and Bro hugs Noah. Angels. Just like angels. Marina coos at Bria, and it makes me so happy to see how much they both adore the girls. Our girls are so loved. I say and smile. Are you ready for the execution, Leah? Noah asks me, looking at me with concern. Noah has become a brother to me and can be just as protective and overbearing as the rest of the males in my life. I just know that executions can be very overwhelming, especially when it's your first. He quickly explains. I'm just ready to put all this drama and BS behind us so we can all live our best lives. I tell him, and he smiles. Liam and I kiss the twins and head to the royal halls. After walking into the throne room, where everyone agreed to meet, my parents arrive, and as usual, my mother is stunning. She's wearing a sky blue skirt suit that buttons up and her pumps match. Her hair is up in a twist. She hugs me. Sweetheart, you look every inch the queen, she says, and I smile. I'm wearing my gray skirt suit with a silk black tank under the jacket and black pumps. I'm wearing light makeup and my hair is pulled up and then falls down my neck. Well, I have very big shoes to fill. I tell her, and she smiles brightly. I love you, Mom. Oh, Leah, I love you too, and I'm so happy you're home and we can be a family, she says emotionally. Your Highnesses, it's time to head downstairs, Lord Ryan says, and we all head down to the execution room. The execution room is located below the dungeon, and it's completely made of rock with beams to stabilize it. It's got a horrible musty smell I've never smelt before, and my stomach seems to be doing somersaults. At the end of the hall, we arrive at a heavily guarded door. The guards bow to us before opening the door. Your Majesties, they say respectfully before Liam and I step into the room. If I thought I was nauseous before, I had no idea what it meant to be nauseous. The room smelled of blood and death. The concrete walls were covered in blood. Some older than my parents and others were still wet. I could smell the sweat, and it was obvious that this room was meant to be this way. It was meant to show a prisoner exactly what they were in for. Don't get me wrong, the entire basement was dark and foreboding, but this room was the last stop, and the prisoner was left with no hope of walking out alive. In the middle of the room, Ragazzi was cuffed and chained to a table. Only now he looked terrified and beaten. His oily pale skin led to his deeply sunk-in eyes. When he looked into my eyes for just a moment, there was no fight left, only fear. Good, you're finally feeling a fraction of the fear and pain you've caused all of the women you claimed and tortured throughout the years. I growled, not realizing I'd actually said it until I felt everyone looking at me. That's enough, you're the queen, be professional. I chastised myself in my head and pasted on a neutral expression as Councilman Augustine spoke. Ragazzi, you have been sentenced to lethal injection for your crimes against your kingdom and its citizens, as well as your crimes against the royal kingdom of Europe and Asia," he says, and then nods to a guard who walks in with an 4x4 setup and 2 syringes filled with what could only be pure silver and the other wolfsbane. The doctor who serves my kingdom steps into the room and quickly starts the IVs, one in each arm, then steps to the side of the room. "Your Majesty's Queen Leah and Princess Saturn, please step up on either side." We'd already decided that since Ragazzi had attempted to kidnap me and cost me so much time with my family, and he had caused Saturn's mother's death, not to mention forced himself on her, we would be given the opportunity to ask any questions and to give the fatal doses. "Go ahead, Your Majesties, ask, or say anything you need to," Augustine says, and Saturn and I had decided last night that we didn't want to hear his lies. "That's not necessary, Councilman, we have none," I explain before Saturn and each grab a syringe and screw it into the IV's line port before pausing to get the okay to push. "Ragazzi, you are about to receive fatal doses of pure silver and wolfsbane. May the goddess have mercy on your soul," Councilman Jacob states before watching the clock. "Your Highnesses, go ahead." Both Saturn and I push down on the plungers and step back to our mates, who stood right behind us, if it had become too much. Liam pulls me into his chest moments before Ragazzi started screaming and thrashing around the little amount he could. "It burns." "Ah!" he screamed for what was only a few minutes, but felt like hours until he went still. The doctor walked up to the table and searched for a pulse, then held his stethoscope to Ragazzi's chest. He looked at Jacob and nodded before standing up and walking to the Ragazzi's head and quickly breaking his neck to be sure. "Time of death 0920. He calls the death and leaves the room. We all stand in silence for a few minutes until Saturn speaks. "It's finally over, he won't hurt anyone ever again," she says before turning into my brother's chest. Guards remove the body and take it to the furnace. Augustine commands, and after they enchain the body, we follow them to the opposite side of the execution room and watch as they open the roaring furnace and place the body on the tray, pushing it inside and closing and locking the door. We again watch in silence as the vile man who hurt and killed so many is reduced to ash. Everyone slowly leaves the room until only Saturn, Christian, my parents, and Jacob remain. I step over to Saturn, and knowing she knows I'm there, I place my hand on her shoulder. "I'm sure you're going through quite a few different emotions, and that's to be expected. You know where to find me, or just shout out over the link if you want to talk, vent, scream, or need to go for a run," I tell her, and she turns to face me. "Thank you, Leah," she says before turning back into my brother's arms. I smile at him before Liam, and I leave the room. "I need to see our girls," I say. "It's like you read my mind, my love." "Let's go," he replies before kissing my knuckles. "Not so fast," Jacob says, and we turn to see him and the council. "We will leave today to get the African kingdom reinstated. As we've agreed, we will return in 2 weeks. Your official coronation will be 2 weeks from Saturday. Before you ask, Leah, it is necessary." "Yes, we will be ready," I reply, earning a smirk from Jacob at my irritation. They hug myself and my mom and shake my father and Liam's hands before we all head upstairs, and they leave while Liam and I go and spend the day with our twins. Our coronation, part 1. Leah's POV. I moan as I wake up and feel my husband licking between my legs, and he reaches up to massage my chest. I feel him start thrusting his tongue in and out of my entrance, and it feels incredible. I open my eyes and look down to lock gazes with Liam right as I have an intense orgasm, crying out, FFFUUUUCCCCKKKK. Liam drinks my juices in before crawling over me and kissing me deeply so I taste myself. He thrusts into my entrance, and we both moan as he fully encases himself inside me. Good morning, my queen. I had to see if you tasted as incredible as you did in my dream, Liam says, smirking as he speeds up his thrusts. Sorry, we have to go fast before the twins wake up. I need to be inside you when I roar. So was it? I ask, and Liam looks confused. Was it as incredible as in your dreams? Absolutely not. It tastes so much better. You are my favorite flavor, Liam says, and then I feel his shift to his dominant side. Now come for me, he orders, and that's all it takes for me to come hard. Fuck. Good girl, now tell me where you want me to come, Liam says, and I wrap my legs around his waist. Please, sir, fill my tight pussy, I beg, and watch just my words drive both Liam and Zeus crazy as his eyes start going back and forth as they fight for control, until, Zeus, my love, let them have this. Our time is coming, Isis tells Zeus, and I immediately feel Liam relax. Moments later he slams as deep as he can and roars his release. Fuck. After we catch our breath, we take a sexy shower before getting ready for breakfast and getting the girls ready. It's about 2 hours later when I am walking towards my office in the royal halls with my personal assistant Sylvia. Yes, she's a leakin'. Sylvia is at least 6, tall with long blonde straight hair and gray eyes. She's just started at the beginning of last week, and thankfully is doing amazingly. She's going over my schedule for this morning, since the coronation is this afternoon. Are my in-laws here yet? I ask, unlocking my office and heading inside. I sit at my desk. Yes, Your Majesty. I made sure their rooms were all set up and your sister and family arrived with them. They're all settling in, Sylvia informs me, and I smile. I start to ask my next question but stop. Yes, the council are also here settling in. Have I told you how glad I am you're my assistant? I ask, and she blushes. Oh, my special guests. Did the gowns fit? I ask, thinking of Eliana, Aurelia, and Lucia. I delivered them last night myself along with the invitations. They were delighted. I also let them know that the car would arrive early so they could come assist you in getting ready. Sylvia explains, and I smile happily. Perfect, I'm so excited. I had their dresses match Bria and Bella's. As if they heard their names, I hear my girls fussing over the monitor, and I lock up my office to go nurse my girls and get ready. A little over 2 hours later, I'm in Liam and my bathroom, sitting in the chair as my hair and makeup artists do their jobs. I've got Bria under the privacy cover nursing, and between my mom and Liam's mom on hair management, I just sit there smiling down at my daughter. They are getting so big. I hear the door, and within moments 2 very excited young lichens come running into the bathroom with huge smiles. We're so excited, Your Majesty, our dresses are amazing, Eliana tells me. They're princess dresses, thank you so much, Aurelia says. I'm so happy you made it, I reply before I lift Bria up and hand her to Marina to burp her and take her to the nursery where Liam, Alec, Rachel, and Nadine are changing Bella into her gown. You look so beautiful, Your Majesty, Eliana says, and I smile. The team are finished, so I stand up and look to both girls. All right, ladies, you're next. I tell them, and both of their jaws drop. You mean we get our hair done? Ileana asks, and I grin and nod. They excitedly get into the chairs and start getting their hair done. Look, Lucia, look, we're getting our hair done. I look over and see Lucia watching with a smile. I see that, sweetie. Lucia replies. Miss Lucia, Darlene is ready for you. I tell her before stepping out to check on my girls. When I enter the nursery, I can't believe how gorgeous they look. My sweet Bella is in a purple ball gown with a satin top completely covered in crystals. The skirt is satin and she has patent leather shoes. She's so gorgeous. Then I see Bria in a matching ball gown, only pink. They look so cute. Now Liam and I have to get ready, so can you all watch them just for a few? I ask and every agrees, so I take Liam's hand heading to our joint walk-in closet. We're running late, but when we're done I'm going to ride you like a pro. I say as I step into my dress. My gown is purple satin over layers of tulle. The bodice is covered with an intricate pattern of Swarovski crystals and the skirt matches. It's off-shoulder and has sheer sleeves. I love it. I'm wearing purple pumps, and when I finish getting dressed and step into our sitting area, both my mom and Liam's mom are crying. I look to Liam and he's dressed in a black tuxedo. He takes my breath away. Are you ready, my love? He asks, holding out his hand, which I take, and we head downstairs and outside to walk to the royal hall. To my surprise, there are people everywhere behind barriers on either side of the path and all the way to the gate. There's so many people. Where'd they all come from? I ask out loud and my mom laughs. People come from all over the kingdom for coronations. You've got quite a crowd, sweetheart. They're all here to support their new king and queen. She tells me, and I'm stunned. I smile and wave at the people. It's crazy how they're all so excited. Look at how excited the girls are and how much fun they're having. Your Majesties, today has been amazing for both Ileana and Aurelia. It means the world to us that you included us on your day. Lucia says with tears in her eyes. We're so happy you could join us, and it's not over yet. I reply with a smirk. Yes, I have something up my sleeve that is going to make today even better. The council is thrilled. Not quite 20 minutes later, Liam and I stand behind my parents as the designers and assistants help us to put in our royal robes. Mine is the same deep purple as my gown and 6 foot long. It's got fur on the edges. I'm wearing a beautiful amethyst and diamond crown. Liam has a red robe, and it's not as long. Suddenly the doors to the packed throne room open and the guard speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our Queen Mother Amelia and King Father Ernesto. He calls out and my parents enter. I have 2 assistants helping with my robe and we step forward. I'm so nervous I'm shaking until my amazing husband, my king, squeezes my hand before placing it on the inside, so F his elbow. We got this, my love, he says over our mind link. I smile at him. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue standing as we welcome their Royal Highnesses interim Queen Leah and King Liam. The guard announces and the standing room only throne room turns to look at us with smiles as we make our way up to our thrones and kneel before the Queen and King, my parents, who are standing. Behind my parents the council is standing. Please sit, the guard says as everyone sits down. Then Councilman Augustine moves over so he's standing between my mom and dad. Ladies and gentlemen of the European Kingdom, today is truly a historic day. Today's official coronation is an event many of us never expected to happen. After missing for 18 years, our princess has returned, and is a great honor that I've been allowed to officiate. Councilman Augustine explains, and I thank the moon goddess I'm home. I'm with those that love me. With that being said, I'll turn it over to our Queen Mother and King Father. Thank you, Councilman Augustine, and thank you to all of you for allowing us to rule over our home. My mom says, and everyone applauds. When the crowd dies down, my mom looks at me. Leah Caputo, will you accept the throne and always make the people of this kingdom feel safe and secure? Will you protect our home? I will, I reply. Will you govern fairly and always keep the citizens' best interest in mind when making decisions that affect the kingdom? Mom asks, and I agree. Is there anyone who objects to the crowning of Queen Leah? She asks, and the room is dead silent. Please bow your head. My mom says, and I do so. I feel her remove my crown, and then Councilman Jacob steps up next to her and holds out the most beautiful crown. It's gold with purple velvet and rubies inlaid in the gold. The fur band running the bottom matches my robe. It's the same crown my mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother have all been crowned with. It is my great honor and joy to crown thee Queen Leah Caputo of the European Leacan Kingdom. Long live the Queen. My mom says as she places the crown on my head. Long live the Queen. The people in the hall reply. I stand and my assistants carry my robe as I ascend the stairs and sit in my throne. Liam Caputo, will you accept the throne and always make the people of our kingdom feel safe and secure? My father asks Liam, who replies he will. Will you govern fairly and always keep the citizens' best interests in mind when making decisions that affect the kingdom? Dad asks, to which Liam agrees. Is there anyone who'd like to object to the crowning of King Liam? My dad asks, and once again silence. Please bow your head. Liam bows his head, and I get a tad emotional watching my dad place the matching crown on my husband's head. It is my great honor to crown thee King Liam Caputo of the European Leacan Kingdom. Long live the king. My dad says, long live the king. The people repeat, and then Liam stands and moves to sit in his throne, next to mine, taking my hand in his. Councilman Augustine moves beside us. The council approves the crowning of Queen Leah and King Liam. Congratulations! Now will our guests bring the objects of this kingdom forward to present to the Queen? He asks, and the doors of the room open, and Eliana and Aurelia come towards us with objects covered by white fabric. The girls are smiling and so excited. Your Majesty, please accept this symbol of our kingdom, she says before pulling the fabric away to reveal a beautiful gold scepter with a large purple and red stone on top. She hands it to me and I take it with a smile. She steps back while Eliana steps up. Your Majesty, please accept this symbol of our kingdom, pulling back the fabric to hand me the red and purple orb. I take it, and now I have the scepter and orb. I stand up. I'm so thankful you all believe in myself and King Liam, and I to govern our home. Please know I'm always available, even if I'm in another kingdom or in a meeting. I will be handing out a phone number as you leave the throne room that goes to a private voicemail my assistant will check a few times daily. If there's anything you'd like to discuss, please leave a message. I say, and then place the scepter and orb on the table beside the thrones and smile. Now, before we finish, I'd like to have Bria and Bella brought forward, as well as Eliana and Aurelia. I say, and Marina and Noah bring our daughters, while Lucia approaches the throne holding the girls' hands. Councilman Augustine hands me 2 identical small tiaras. It is hereby declared that Bria and Bella Caputo are crowned princesses. Then the girls step forward. Please bow your heads. I say, and both girls bow their heads. I'm handed 2 more tiaras and place one on each of their heads. Aurelia and Eliana, you're now crowned as princesses of the European kingdom. Both girls have a few tears running down their cheeks. Do you accept? I ask, smiling, and they both look at me, nodding their heads. This is so awesome, we're princesses, Eliana says, and the room erupts with laughter. The council stands. The coronation is now complete, and we will be opening the royal estate grounds for all to celebrate. Please enjoy yourselves and make your way to the grounds. Councilwoman Sedina announces, and everyone starts for the doors as the guards lead them outside. After a few minutes, it's just family, who all come to hug and congratulate us. This is what I've always wanted, a family and husband. I've never felt so loved, and I will never let it go.